And we're back and we're moving into our second conversation for today, where we're talking about what will soon premiere as our first animated movie, including our own local folklore and cultures. We have with us on set the animator, David Smith. In the middle, we have Kristyn Tillett, who is a student at Corozal Community College. But she's also the voice actor for the movie. And on the end, we have Lee Mcloughlin, who is the director and the producer of the movie called Tecuani and the Duende, the voice of the Jaguar. Good morning and welcome. All right, I feel like there's a roar that should come to the end, of that. But I want to just dive right in and find out more about the idea behind this movie. Lee, you were with us about 2 years ago with a coloring book, storybook that was meant to help children understand conservation more.
Yeah.
That first foray led to this?
Somewhat, yeah. That's true, that's true. Yeah, I mean, so I work in conservation, and what I'd noticed is that in conservation we have a lot of kind of technical messages we need to get out, can be quite dry and boring sometimes. And with the book, I had the idea that, you know, if we tell stories with images, it can sometimes sink in a bit better, not just for kids, but for adults as well. Yeah. And so I went on and in conversations with lots of people I've met over my 10 years in Belize, that I've always been fascinated with folklore. And my friend was telling me about how the Duende is a protector of forests and rivers. And I thought that might be a good way to get across conservation messages. So I wrote a little story. And then as things developed, kind of met David, had the idea for an animation. And here we are. Yeah.
So you guys were fundraising to get this project out. I know that. Have you been able to hit your marker so far?
Yes. For the making of the movie specifically, we've reached a target, but we still need to raise a little bit of money to do the national screening tour.
Okay. So David, tell us a bit about this animation work. How'd you get on board?
Let's see. Well, Lee was posting on Facebook. He was asking if there's anybody that does animation. I got tagged in the post. Okay. And probably about a year or so ago, I did this little 1-minute animation thing about a manatee, right? And it was called a manatee. It was just 1 minute. It was about me basically just showing what I could do, and that was the selling point for Lee, I guess. And that he saw that and he was like, "I want to meet. Let's meet." And so that was it. We met, and I guess the deal got sealed, you could say, or something like that. And so we've been working ever since now.
Yeah, I was really impressed with the quality of David's work. I wasn't aware that we had that quality available in country. Always get surprised with that. And so it kind of really solidified the idea that this could be something, not just a small kind of, informal effort, but something really, really good. Yeah.
And I guess you're even happier that it's a Belizean who's able to understand our own landscape as well. Yeah,
it's really important,
Now, I want to talk a bit about this concept of putting together it's an animated movie, but you're looking at culture, you're looking at conservation, and you're looking at a Belizean product. So it hits many targets all in one. What is the primary motivation for you? Is it conservation? Is it the culture? What is it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think for me is to recognize the talent that we have here in Belize would probably be the most primary target, to build up a film industry, really give those outlets and opportunities for Belizean artists. The whole production team is Belizean, except for obviously me.
You're half Belizean, you're married Belizean.
I'm married Belizean, I've been here for 10 years, so almost qualify. But that was probably the primary motivation. But the story itself tells an important message of not just conservation, but how we need to really take care of our environment for our own benefits. We're seeing a lot of environmental degradation, climate change, and more than ever we need to recognize that we've got to take care of our environment.
So Kristyn has already read the entire script because she is the voice of the lead character. Kristyn, tell me about how they roped you into this project.
Well, last year I was in First Farm, and I was invited to partake in this event, this 20,000 strong event held here in Belize. And as I'm a poet, I love writing poetry and reading and reciting poetry. So I decided to write a poem about the disenfranchised or youth. And Mr. Mcloughlin here saw a video of my performance, and well, I'd like to personally believe that was very impressed.
It's true, it's true.
I was very impressed and decided to contact me, and it may be hard to believe, but I'm not connected to any social media outlets, so it was very difficult for him to contact me until he found my cousin, who was more than willing to share the message with me, and I was very ecstatic and more than willing to jump onto this project.
Yeah. What did you think of the script when you read it?
It was such a beautiful story, especially since it tells so much about our culture and it holds so much truth and wisdom behind it.
Yeah.
And I simply fell in love with the characters, Tecuani, and especially the Duende. And you know, I could really see myself in Tecuani, especially since she has such an ardent passion to have her voice be heard, and you know, she's not willing to shy away from it. And we're both very, she's courageous and fearless, just as I am. So I really could see myself in her.
Wow. Okay, that already sounds like a character I want to be able to see more about. And what about taking on the voice acting part of it? Because there's recognizing yourself in someone, but being able to replicate the emotion they're feeling at that time, that can be the challenging part.
It was such a difficult and new experience, especially since I've never done something like this. It was kind of like I was a fish out of water. But with the help of all of the crew, and you know, especially since it was a lot of pressure, especially since I had to live up to the expectations Mr. Mcloughlin already had for me. But it was so amazing getting to work with all of the characters and getting to meet all of them, and you know, they guided me through the process, so it really wasn't that difficult after I got to meet them and after they guided me through it.
All right, good choice, Lee.
Yeah.
Kristyn, you express yourself so well. It's so great to hear that. And you're just in second form, which means you're what, 15?
14.
14, all right. So you're going to be the lead voice as Tecuani. Now let me just get that question out here. Tecuani?
Yes. Yeah, I was researching the topic, and I like the idea of linking the story to the jaguar. The jaguar is a keystone species in the forests. We need it to keep the forest healthy.
Yeah.
And so I was doing some research about different names for the jaguar in the indigenous cultures of Mesoamerica. And Tecuani is actually the Nahuatl name for the jaguar, which is the indigenous Aztec of Mexico. And I just really love the ring of that name. I just think that, like the title, when I first kind of like conceived it in my head, I just thought it had a really nice ring to it. Which is important for a film title.
Yeah, and Duende, well in Belize we know it as Tata Duende.
Yes, yeah.
So how'd you cut it down to just Duende?
I think that's just for the title.
Okay.
He's, in the story, he's Tata Duende.
Okay.
Tata Duende, as I'm told by a lot of my Creole friends. But again...
Why was this the most fascinating character in our folklore? And I have to admit, just seeing that picture is strange, because that used to be the stuff of my nightmares growing up.
Yeah, for me that's the most famous folklore character.
Yeah.
I've always been amazed because he's part of every single, the many ethnic groups that we have in Belize, he's known within all of those groups.
Yeah.
Some groups more than others. In conversations with my friend Andy Chuk up in Corozal with the Yucatec Maya Association, they know him as Nukush Tat.
Yes.
And he's a character that's kind of somewhat misunderstood in that he is a protector. He's not just a bad guy, but he can be bad if you misuse the forest and the environment. So in that sense, he's a good kind of guardian.
Yeah.
I
so
guess.
he's not the villain.
No, he's actually he's still a scary character in this, but he's got a good heart.
Yeah. And David, what was it like recreating, especially Tata Duende? Because it's, did you know about Tata Duende growing up? Please tell me yes.
Yeah.
I'm just making sure, because there is a generation gap now, I acknowledge that. And we only have maybe 1-2 images from some of the books that exist. So really, it's just your imagination and our interpretation before.
Well, exactly, you said it was definitely, the public definitely got involved in the creation of Duende. With the other characters, it was much easier.
Yeah.
Because, but Duende, everybody has a specific vision in mind. And so we were very careful with that. And we got a perspective from the public. So we did the first draft. Lee liked it. We put it on Facebook, and we just got people's opinion on it. And so they're like, no, this is wrong, this needs changing. It looks too nice.
The backward foot is right. I was going to say, he does not look as scary as I remember him in my nightmares.
Yeah, and so we made changes based on the public. And so that was, I think, that the character was the most pressured. As just from what people expect him to be. And so we're trying to live up to that expectation as much as possible.
And who voices him? Because I don't know if I know what his voice sounds like. You're gonna give him the first voice.
What would you imagine would be his voice?
Something
like who would the human version look like? That's him,
Okay.
Javier Romero. Like when we did the casting online, like on social media, we issued a call to cast for the voice. Got a lot of entries, older people, and then Javier's voice recording came in. And I was like, my God, like he's just got the perfect voice. It was like raspy and kind of powerful in a way. But he's a young guy, and I kind of never expected that when we first issued the call. I expected to get an older person in. But his voice was great, and I have to give a lot of respect to Natalie Alamina there on screen, because she's a professional voice actor, and she gave a lot of excellent guidance to all of the amateur actors, and enabled them to really kind of maximize their potential, I suppose.
We got to get in one of these clips soon so we can hear and see a bit of what you're talking about. So we'll ask them to get that ready, and then it's on Facebook, right?
Yeah, there's a Facebook page. You can type in Tecuani and the Duende and follow our page.
Yeah. So you're going to launch this when? When can people see this movie?
Yeah, so we're all heading towards August the 16th. We're going to do our premiere at the Bliss Theatre here in Belize City. We want as many people as possible. It can hold 600 people, so we want to fill the venue. And then we're going to embark on a national screening tour. So we're going to bring the movie to all municipalities. If schools are interested, please send us a message on our Facebook page. I have to buy a projector and a screen, and we're just going to go on the road, really. Because this is a film for Belize, so we want as many Belizeans as possible to see it.
So you're good with that deadline, David?
We're good.
How far are you in production? I mean, are you 90%?
We're not 90%, I'll be honest, but we're jamming. We have a small production team.
Yeah.
So myself, I'm lead animator, and we also have Maggie Gray. She's from Corozal, and she's helping with animation. We also have Caleb Smith. He's doing animation, and then we have Ruth Bajram. She's working on background design and development. So.
Okay. So much work going into it.
So much work, yes.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the plot without any spoilers, right? Is there going to be a surprise in the end?
There's a cliffhanger.
Good.
Yes.
Good. Okay. So, what is the general plot of the story?
Yeah. So essentially, Tecuani, she meets the Duende in a scene. I'm not going to throw in too many spoilers here, but she meets the Duende. He's a scary character. She's a little bit afraid at first, but she gets to realize he's not got bad intentions, and actually he's been waiting for her, and he wants to tell her a story that's been long forgotten. And it's a story of the history of her people that has been lost in the undergrowth of the jungle. And it's about how her past society had kind of overused their resources. They'd gotten a bit greedy, cut down all of the forests, fished out all of the seas, and had to leave this other island on this imaginary planet with just 2 islands. And so a small brave group leaves that island, travels across a very dark and foreboding sea. They don't know if there's anything else out there, but they wash up on an island with all the resources that they had on the old one, but unspoiled. They get there and they vow never to make the same mistakes again, to live in harmony with the environment. But you know, as time goes by, they start to forget again, and they start to fall into the same mistakes, make some of the overusing the resources, and that's where Tecuani comes in. Duende says, this is you, this is your story. It's your job to make sure people don't make the same mistake again. And that's where we are kind of today in our own societies. You know, we've seen the collapse of past civilizations. Let's not let that happen to us again.
So the setting, the backdrop, it's going to be Belize?
Yeah, it's a fantasy kind of backdrop, but it has a lot of links to Mesoamerica and Belize.
Because that's what I'm hearing from you, and that's where my question is, because you know, Tecuani is from the Aztecs in Mexico, and we know that there's a clear link between the indigenous communities within Central America. Is that your point, to kind of be able to reach beyond Belize so that others in other countries can also identify with the story?
Definitely. In fact, we're doing a version in Spanish. There's Astrid Maciel Reyes. She did Spanish language Tecuani. Javier was able to do the Duende in 2 languages.
Nice.
Very impressive. And again, Natalie was able to oversee the acting in both languages. So we're going to take this to Mexico, to Guatemala, hopefully further afield. And interestingly, the Duende story stretches all the way down to Brazil.
Wow.
They have a character there that has his feet on backwards, no thumbs, big hat, small guy. Essentially
what's it called there?
Churipi.
Okay.
And then there's Chulachaki in Peru, Tintin on the Pacific coast, and all of these have a similar kind of look. And it makes you ask the question, you know, how old is this story?
Yeah. And how are the links made all over?
It could be thousands of years old.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, putting together a story with an underlying message is tricky, because you want to have people understand the importance of conservation. I don't want you to answer this, Leslie. I'll have these two answer. Sometimes it becomes more preachy than story-like. How would you rate this movie in being able to deliver the message but still be good entertainment?
Well, our producer and our animators have worked arduously to make this truly an experience that you'll never forget. And so it's not only entertaining, but it also comes across with a message, and it allows us to open our eyes and see that we've slowly destroyed our environment with our greed and our hunger for money. But I wouldn't rate it as being too preachy.
Okay.
But it comes across as entertaining, so you won't fall asleep while watching this animation. But it's really entertaining, and it's really a good experience for you to watch it. Not only as kids, but also an adult experience.
Yeah. What's your favorite scene?
Well, my favorite scene, it would have to be when Tecuani finally realizes her purpose, and that she has to step up and she has to use her voice to create a difference.
Wow. Nice. And what about you, David? You're still part of the team, but you also,
I definitely would say I wouldn't necessarily call it preachy. It does have a good message, it does have a good moral. And I think with the team that we have, and just Lee being who he is, he doesn't keep, he's never married to his idea. He always gets opinion, and I think that's a good thing. And so even the first script that went through several different people, we got several opinions, and with the animation as well, we're trying to, I understand what it is to be inspired. I love being inspired. I believe that's my purpose here, to inspire others, and so we're trying to do that, and we're working diligently to make sure that it's not preachy and that it's inspiring. To if you never knew Duende, you will know Duende now. If you never knew about conservation and the importance of jaguars, at the same time you know about it now. So.
Okay. And who is your target audience?
All Belizeans. young and old. Like that's the beauty of animation, is it can reach, you know, it's of interest to all age groups.
Yeah.
It's a great format for that.
Do you have some good sing-alongs too?
Yes.
Like a good animated movie?
Yes, the theme tune, I have to say, is being sung, or has been already written and sung by my friend Nicole Catherine Craig.
Beautiful voice.
Yeah, you probably know her, you probably heard her, but that's going to be coming out soon. We're also making a music video. A guy called Theodore Spain is going to be working on that. So we're really excited that that's going to be coming out. It's like, it's really top quality stuff, man. It's like, I'm just amazed how good all of this is coming out.
Yeah, Nicole is also a well-known Belizean singer. Theodore has his sister that he produces all her videos.
Exactly. Yeah.
A really amazing team you're putting together. What's the end goal here?
Building the Belizean film industry. I mean, there's a lot of talent in country. This is what we've realized through this process. It just needs the chance to express. Yeah. So that's the goal. Like that's the end goal. We don't want to. When this is done, when we finish doing the screening tour, we want to do the next thing. Hopefully, we can inspire other animators, filmmakers, actresses, actors to sign up for this, to realize that this is an opportunity. It can be done. Yeah. It's not something that just happens in the States. It can happen right here in Belize. And Suzette Zayden from the Belize International Film Festival, she's been working on this for a long time, and we're happy to contribute to that a little bit.
Awesome. So August 16th, we'll be able to see it. It's going to be like a movie premiere. We go to the Bliss and we can see the movie for the first time.
Red carpet, buy a nice dress, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yes, definitely.
And you are still seeking support to be able to finalize your national tour, where you can take it beyond Belize. How do people get in touch with you if they want to assist in this project?
Through the Facebook page would probably be the best way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want to recognize I've also had a lot of support from Belizeans in this. Yeah. There's already been a lot of contributions from people in Belize. And I've been overwhelmed by that, really, to be honest. It shows that people are really passionate about this kind of project.
Yeah. Absolutely great initiative. We can't wait to see it. We weren't able to get the clip up, but you can be able to see it on Facebook. Look up Tecuani and Duende, the voice of the Jaguar, on Facebook, and you can show your support and get more details as well. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
We're going to go ahead and take a break, and we'll be back in a few. Stay tuned.